Hey guys, welcome to the review show. My name is Austin. Center stars Michael B. Jordan and Haley Steinfeld. Trying to leave their troubled lives behind, twin brothers return to their hometown to start again, only to discover that an even greater evil is waiting to welcome them back. Well, alright. I'm already getting backlash on, on my out of the theater reaction for not enjoying this movie like everyone else. So I guess let's rip this movie off like a band-aid. So this movie is directed by Ryan Coogler and follows these two characters that are played by Michael B. Jordan, who play both twins, Stack and Smoke, who come back to their hometown to start up a bar, a club. So throughout the whole entire film, they are gathering people around, trying to get word of mouth to have a big grand opening night on their first night back. And next they eventually end up having vampire problems. And everything that I just said there hooks me right in. I like vampires. I just saw Abigail last year, which I enjoyed, which was actually very entertaining and very thrilling. So I was like, if it's on the same levels like as Abigail, but a little bit more Ryan Coogler style, like it should be fun. Like I'm not the biggest Ryan Coogler fan. Like I enjoy the Creed films, not as much as everyone else. Black Panther films are good, so like this should be a win-win. But to get to the vampire stuff, that takes about maybe 40 minutes for them to be introduced, and next maybe another 10 to 15-ish minutes before they even interact with our main leads, which I don't have a really big issue with either. But the first 40 minutes of the film, setting up all of these characters, don't really leave that big of an impact towards the end, mostly because I don't really remember any of the characters' names. Like, because none of the characters really have a personality of their own in the film, besides one, which is a very young kid. But but his whole entire character is that he wants to sing, he wants to play guitar. I'm like, okay, that's cool. But that's all his character is. So who is a very good singer throughout the whole entire film, this is his very first movie, which is really cool to see. Even like Michael B. Jordan's characters don't really stand out from one another, even though they're supposed to be twins and like they're supposed to have two different personalities. One's a little bit more like, kind of crazy, and while the other one's more like, kind of more focused, like, knows how to get things done type of deal. They try to show that at the very beginning of the film, while they're like gathering people for their bar. When it comes to diving into any of the characters' histories, it's not really, none of it's really there. It's just like there's glimpses of it being mentioned with one of Michael B. Jordan's characters, Stag, who he has a past relationship with a woman. It has a full circle towards the end, which I thought was the most intriguing part, and I wish that they did a little bit more with that. And Haley Steinfeld, that's also in the film, who does a great job, also has a past relationship with Smoke, which is another Michael B. Jordan character, and they don't really go anywhere with it. As soon as it seems like it's going to go somewhere, Haley Steinfeld turns into a vampire. I wish that they didn't put that in the trailer, because any form of tension of seeing her become a vampire was kind of lost, because they try to build suspense up with her being turned into a vampire. It's like we already know as the audience that she's turned into a vampire, and so move along now. And as soon as the vampire stuff start actually happening, everything else about the story, about all these characters, just get forgotten about. It's like, oh well, now we got to focus on the vampires. And the reasons why that the vampires are there is is a reason, but not a very intriguing reason. I was like, okay, that's a thing I guess you're here for, I guess. All right, cool. They don't even do anything with Haley Steinfeld or Michael B. Jordan's, one of Michael B. Jordan's brothers, as the vampires. They actually kind of just go missing for most of the movie, and like they're kind of like in the background. They have little to involvement with fighting with the group that who are supposedly their old friends. Like there's actually really no fight between them, besides Michael B. Jordan and his twin brother, who have a one-on-one fight. But Haley Steinfeld, who was the whole marketing of being a vampire, which got people hooked in, doesn't have any form of fight with Michael B. Jordan at all throughout the whole entire movie. It's so oddly strange to the point where she actually disappeared throughout towards like the third act of the film. She just vanishes. She's just gone. So that's just an odd decision in itself. And oddly enough, the movie has this weird like dim filter over it where most of the time of the film you're kind of squinting at it trying to watch it. Even during the brightest daylight scenes of the film, it's still kind of like hard to see, which is also another weird decision. I don't like this movie. This movie isn't bad. Like I enjoyed all the vampire stuff. I enjoyed the performances from the actors. Even the music in the film are good, but nothing really gets paid off towards the end. I just don't think the movie knew what it wanted to be, because I think the problem is that it wanted to try to be multiple genres, which is a thing that a lot of people were liking about the movie. But I think that's the downfall of the movie. It tried to be a vampire movie. It tried to be a action movie. It tried to be a slightly horror thriller film. It tried to be about music because you had music throughout the whole entire film, and it's trying to it's almost trying to be like about black music appreciation in a way, and it's just like none of it towards the end connected to anything. Like the vampires just felt like an afterthought, and especially when you have a scene of exposition of a character of like, oh yeah, I've heard stories of these vampires. I never experienced one until now. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. It didn't really add anything to the scene besides of the knowledge like, oh, this is how you kill vampires. You get garlic, and you get wood to stab them, and it's like, or sunlight, and it's like, well, that's just kind of common knowledge when it comes to cliche vampires. I feel like everyone should know that. It's like, I don't, why does a character have to give out that forced exposition? And there's characters that make dumb decisions in the movie too, where they either sacrifice themselves stupidly. It's like, why did you sacrifice yourself there? Why it that was dumb of you to do. Or there's a character that is, you know, that gets literally a lot of people killed because they're freaking out, and I'm like, all right, cool. Well, the movie needs to get over, so we need to get this character to do something, I guess. From my understanding, there was like a 5 minute mid post credit scene that's almost like an epilogue, and apparently that explains like, you know, the after of like characters' afterthoughts of the situation that just happened. And I'm like, well, that's a fucking dick move. I didn't stay around for that. I don't stay around for movies for post credit scenes or in any form unless it's Marvel or DC. I didn't know that there was. And even if I knew that there was, I don't treat post credit scenes as a continued story or a way to fill in gaps. It's more of like an extra thing of knowledge. Like, oh yeah, okay, that would have been nice. That's like a nice thing to have. Not to finish the story that you just were telling. Like you would have that in the actual film. So fuck you on that aspect. I'm gonna give Sinners a C minus. People are gonna be upset that I didn't like this movie, but I'm just being honestly true. I don't think it's anything that crazy. The vampire stuff of the film is the stuff I enjoyed about the movie. It's just that nothing towards the end really mattered about caring about any of the characters. I honestly didn't care about when the characters died. I'm like, oh, okay, who just died? Like, there were so many moments in this movie of like when characters are getting axed off and turned into vampires. I'm like, who? Oh, that person died. Oh no. I find it to be very meh, but it was well performed and put together down to the costumes, to the performances, and to the music. So that is the best I'm going to give this film. But overall, it is the story, and I just don't find it to be an interesting one. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Like always, I'll see you guys next review. Bye, guys.